Welcome to WorldView Today, your source for sharp and insightful analysis of the hottest global events. Today, we dive into a pressing question. Will the latest ceasefire agreement between the United States, Russia, and Ukraine genuinely pave the way for peace? Or is it merely a calculated political maneuver? Let's explore the details right now. Introducing WorldView Today. WorldView Today is a channel dedicated to delivering multidimensional perspectives, helping viewers grasp the essence of international current affairs. With a logical and engaging approach to analysis, we aim to provide you with the most valuable insights. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Latest developments in ceasefire talks. A paper promise or a true turning point? Recent bilateral negotiations between the U.S. Russia and U.S. Ukraine have concluded with some noteworthy outcomes. The most significant achievement is an agreement among all three parties, the United States, Russia, and Ukraine, to implement a ceasefire in the Black Sea, effectively halting maritime attacks and prohibiting strikes on energy infrastructure. This could be seen as an extension of the temporary ceasefire previously established. Curiously, however, no joint statement was issued. Instead, each party released its own separate declaration, highlighting a clear lack of consensus. Ukraine's firm response: Ukrainian President Zelensky swiftly addressed the matter in a press conference, asserting that the Black Sea ceasefire and the suspension of attacks on energy infrastructure must take effect immediately. Ukraine has provided a list of energy facilities that Russia is prohibited from targeting during the ceasefire. Should Russia violate the agreement, Ukraine will demand additional aid from the U.S. and push for new sanctions against Russia. This statement is not only reasonable, but also demonstrates Ukraine's strong goodwill toward achieving peace. Zelensky emphasized, "We are ready to implement a ceasefire today. No preconditions required." Russia's contradictory stance. In contrast, Russia also released its own list of energy facilities that Ukraine is barred from attacking. However, in a surprising twist, Russia unilaterally added a condition. The Black Sea ceasefire will only take effect after Western nations lift financial sanctions on Russia, including restoring access to the SWIFT system and removing penalties on agricultural products and fertilizers. This demand is perplexing, as neither the U.S. nor Ukraine mentioned sanction relief as a prerequisite in their statements. Russia even claimed that its ban on attacking Ukraine's energy infrastructure took effect on the 18th, with a 30-day duration renewable upon mutual agreement. But what's the reality? Since the phone call between President Trump and President Putin, Russian forces have continued relentless attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, including sustained bombing campaigns. This glaring discrepancy between Russia's words and actions speaks volumes. The U.S. role in negotiations. On the 24th, President Trump stated during a press conference that the U.S. and Russia had discussed several critical issues, including territorial demarcation lines, ownership of Ukraine's nuclear power plants. Beyond the Black Sea ceasefire, however, no substantial progress has been reported. The U.S. previously floated the idea of taking ownership of Ukraine's nuclear facilities, but by the 25th, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov categorically rejected this, declaring that the Zaporizhzhia plant, currently under Russian control, will forever belong to Russia. This underscores Moscow's rigidity and the deadlock in broader negotiations. Analysis: who stands to gain? Objectively speaking, this ceasefire agreement appears to favor Russia. Why? President Trump hinted that the U.S. might consider partially lifting sanctions on Russia, a move Moscow views as a precondition for honoring the ceasefire. Meanwhile, Ukraine has steadfastly demanded an unconditional ceasefire and backed its stance with tangible actions. Yet Russia continues to say one thing and do another. While verbally agreeing to the ceasefire, its forces persist in attacking Ukraine. Even after the agreement was announced, Russia tacked on the sanctions condition, seemingly stalling for time and pressuring the U.S. By contrast, Ukraine has twice demonstrated its commitment to peace through concrete steps, while Putin appears to be orchestrating a political charade. So, what does this so-called paper agreement amount to? On paper, it looks promising. A prior 30-day temporary ceasefire on energy attacks, now bolstered by the Black Sea truce. But for the guns to truly fall silent, both sides must stop attacking each other, a prospect that remains a major question mark. Given Putin's repeatedly questionable credibility, there's ample reason to approach Russia's commitments with skepticism. Long-term peace for Ukraine. As simple as we hope, a broader question emerges. How can lasting peace be secured for Ukraine? Many viewers hope the U.S. will offer Ukraine a security guarantee akin to its treaties with Japan or South Korea. But is this realistic? Historical context. After World War II, Japan was demilitarized and left without an army, necessitating U.S. protection. South Korea's strategic position as a buffer defending Japan against North Korea, coupled with U.S. sacrifices in both conflicts, made security commitments logical. Ukraine's situation. Most Americans don't see the war in Ukraine as their fight. Thus, a robust security pact like those with Japan or South Korea seems unlikely. However, a U.S.-Ukraine mineral cooperation deal could offer a new path. Both nations would establish a fund, with Ukraine contributing half its natural resource profits to rebuild the country. This could attract investment from U.S. companies, fostering mutual economic benefits and indirectly enhancing Ukraine's security. Still, shifting U.S. public opinion to view Ukraine as a national interest will require time and strategic long-term efforts. The road to true peace remains fraught with challenges. Conclusion: is peace within reach? In summary, while the Black Sea ceasefire marks theoretical progress, Russia's lack of seriousness undermines its credibility. Ukraine has shown clear goodwill, whereas Russia appears to be exploiting the agreement for self-interest. If a small-scale negotiation like this is already so contentious, larger issues like territory or nuclear plant ownership promise even greater complexity. Dear viewers, if you found this analysis valuable, please support WorldView Today by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment below. If you're feeling generous, you can buy us a coffee via the link in the description. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.